Hello and welcome to another edition of Kitchen Economics. Last time we talked about wealth inequality and talked about how much money people like Jeff Bezos and Michael Jordan make and so forth. So today let's break it down to how can we build our own wealth. So some key points today. All right, compound interest, power of compound interest and how you can make that work for you. IRAs and retirement strategies, and then it takes money to make money. All right, so those are the things we're going to hit on today. And we're going to use one of the rules economists use called the rule of 72. That relates to compound interest. So a simple way to think of compound interest is that you are earning money not only on your principal, that's the initial amount you invest, but you earn interest on your interest, but it takes time to build up. So rule of 72 tells you how long it would take to double your money at different interest rates. So you take the interest rates and you divide it into 72, and that gives you the number of years to double your money. So for example, if you were getting 10% interest and you divide that into 72, you're going to double your money in about 7.2 years. All right. So how can we use that idea of compound interest and so forth to work to our advantage? All right, two key points. You do have to chase the interest rates, the returns, if they investors will tell you. And your financial advisor will talk about the risk trade-off and, generally higher risk, higher returns. Because imagine that rule of 72, right? If you just put your money in the bank right now, you're lucky to get 1%. It'll take you 72 years to double your money instead of 7 years. So you do have to chase the returns, and you have to give it time. It takes time to make money too. Not only does it take money to make money, but time. So the earlier you start, the better off you are. All right, so I'm going to give you an example I used to use with my students because they were young enough. I was trying to encourage them to get an early start and so forth. And this is an example of an IRA. But IRA is just a individual retirement account. It works just like a 401k or a 403b that you might have access to at work. And the key points of those is you get to build money tax-free. You don't pay any money on any taxes on the money you earn in those. And not only that, but you get a tax advantage because as you are investing it, that you don't have to pay income tax on the money that you put into those accounts. So you actually are saving money now and you're building that money tax free. And so these numbers I'm giving you can be real numbers because you don't have to reduce them by taxes until you hit a certain age and you start having to do at 72 your minimum withdrawals. All right, so in my example, I was going to use the 10% that I just came up with. Now that might seem like, wow, 10%, that'd be great. Well, if you historically look at the stock market over the last 100 years, it's returned between 10 and 11% over time. Some years way more, some years negative, you go backwards. But over time, again, time's on your side, you can expect, if you would put your money in a exchange traded fund, index fund, very low fee, you could expect 10% over time. So here is what we're going to do. You're 18 years old. You just graduated high school. This is how I use my students there, right? And you were fortunate enough that people gave you money for graduation. You had maybe earned some money in summer job and so forth, and you got $2,500, and you said, you know what, I'm gonna stock that away in an IRA like Mr. Vanden he told me, and just not worry about it. And in this example, you're not going to add to it at all. That's it. You're going to let it be, all right? You look at it when you're 25, now you're graduated college and you're at $5,000 and you thought, oh, Mr. Vanden need $5,000. That's not a lot of money. Not going to retire with that. But hopefully, you're starting a job and you've got a 401k started and so you're putting money into that. This money is just $2,500 you're not touching again. You never added to it, just interest. At 32, you look at it, now you're married and maybe you've had your first kid and you look at it, it's $10,000. Okay, but you're going to let it ride because you're, again, you've been wise with your money and you've started other investments. All right, 39. Now it's $20,000. So another 7 years, it's doubled again. Remember, this is doubling not only your principal, but your interest. That's compound interest. Money, interest on your interest. All right, let it ride. You're 46. You look at it, it's $40,000. You think, okay, well, that's not bad, but it's still not going to be retiring early or anything on that. And let it ride. 53. Maybe you've got kids of your own going to college now, and you look at it, it's doubled again. Now it's 80,000, and you go, okay, now we're talking some pretty decent money. Let it ride. $160,000. You're thinking about retirement yourself. You've got some nice accounts, and you look at that, and you could, at this point, with other things that you've got saved, hopefully you'd be like, oh, that'd be great bonus. But you don't need it. Good for you. But you do retire on your other income, and you say, I don't even need to touch that. I'm going to let it ride. So you let it ride till you're 67. It doubles again, $320,000. You can see how it takes time to build, right? And how it takes money to make money. And then if you let it ride till you're 74, it's $640,000, and now you're 81, and it is $1.3 million. So that is all with the initial $2,500. If you never touched it again, just compound interest. That's the power of compound interest. How to turn $2,500 into $1 million in your lifetime. And imagine if you added $2,500 a year into that account and let that build up. That's a much more complicated formula, but you would hit $1 million way sooner, obviously. So that's a strategy that anybody can use, is to start early, be smart to find those tax sheltered things like IRAs and 401ks, and chase some of those returns. You're not going to get there at 2-3% interest. So it takes money to make money. That was the other key point, right? You got compound interest, and retirement strategies takes money to make money. If we go back to this one, imagine instead, that, instead of being, $2,500, let's say you were had a wealthy family and you started out with, say, $250,000 in a trust fund or something. At 25, if you didn't touch it, it'd be $500,000, and then you would have $1 million by the time you're 32 years old. So that obviously, the more money you start with, the easier it is to build, and that's just life. And so hopefully you've got a few strategies there, and go out if you haven't and put some money in an IRA. All right, talk to you next time.